Shedeur Sanders was NFL ready before the Browns. There are players who enter the NFL to learn how to be professionals. Then there are the rare ones, those who walk in already built for it. Shedeur Sanders didn't have to adapt to the lights, the cameras, or the chaos. He was born in them. From the moment the son of Deion Coach Prime Sanders stepped onto the field at Jackson State, and later at Colorado, the poise, precision, and polish looked less like a college kid finding himself and more like a man rehearsing for Sundays. The Browns may have drafted him, but the truth, the one his father, his teammates, and his opponents all quietly understood, was simple. Shedeur Sanders was NFL ready long before Cleveland called his name. The making of a prime prodigy. To understand Shedeur Sanders' readiness, you have to go back to the very beginning. Not just his college days, but the foundation of his upbringing. Imagine growing up with a father who was not only a Hall of Famer, but a cultural force of nature. Deion Sanders wasn't just a football player. He was prime time, a larger-than-life symbol of excellence, swagger, and purpose. And yet, for all the flash, what he built at home was structure. Shedeur's mornings weren't ordinary. While most kids hit snooze, he was already up studying film. His father didn't force it. He inspired it. Watching Prime break down tape, Shedeur learned that greatness was never about talent alone. It was about discipline, detail, and direction. Deion would tell him, "Don't just play the game. Command it." From age 10, Shedeur was already watching NFL coverage like a coach. He'd sit with notebooks, charting defenses, understanding leverage, and memorizing coverages most college quarterbacks wouldn't study until their junior year. The Sanders household wasn't raising a celebrity kid. It was crafting a technician of the sport. That's why, when Shedeur arrived at Jackson State under his father's watchful eye, he wasn't a freshman learning the ropes. He was a young general stepping onto familiar terrain. Jackson State, the launch pad. When Shedeur Sanders enrolled at Jackson State, many dismissed the move as a publicity stunt, Coach Prime bringing his son along for the ride. They didn't realize they were about to witness one of the most composed, efficient, and dominant quarterbacks in HBCU history. From the jump, Shedeur's numbers weren't just impressive. They were surgical. He completed passes with timing that mirrored NFL rhythms. His pocket movement was calm, deliberate, not the jittery energy of a young player under pressure. Coaches who scouted him at that level said he carried himself like an NFL backup already. He called protections, diagnosed blitzes, and audibled like a seasoned pro. Deion Sanders knew what he was doing. He wasn't just coaching a team. He was preparing his son for the world that doubted him. By the time Shedeur led Jackson State to back-to-back SWAC titles, the whispers started. He's too composed for college. He doesn't make freshman mistakes. He reads defenses like a vet. But Shedeur's response was always simple. That's just who I am. The Colorado Challenge. When Deion Sanders made his groundbreaking move to Colorado, the world waited to see if Shedeur could translate his success from the HBCU stage to Power 5 competition. He didn't just translate it, he elevated it. In his first game as a Colorado Buffalo, Shedeur threw for over 500 yards against TCU, a college football playoff finalist. The football world stopped. Every analyst, from ESPN to NFL Network, began replaying the same clip. Shedeur in the pocket, patient, methodical, letting the play develop, delivering a strike downfield with pinpoint accuracy. It wasn't hype, it was control. That debut set the tone for a season that felt less like a freshman learning experience and more like a quarterback auditioning for the NFL in real time. Even in losses, his mechanics never unraveled. While the offensive line crumbled and the defense struggled, Shedeur stayed steady. Footwork precise, reads sharp, delivery confident. NFL scouts noticed. They wrote in their reports that his mental clock, film room IQ, and poise under duress were already NFL caliber. What he lacked wasn't experience, it was protection. The Browns didn't just get a quarterback. They got a field general who had already lived through adversity, criticism, and chaos, and had emerged cleaner, sharper, and hungrier than ever. Built different, the film room mindset, one of the defining traits that separated Shedeur Sanders from other college quarterbacks, was his obsession with film study. Teammates from Jackson State and Colorado recall nights when Shedeur would text them at 2 a.m. with screenshots of defenses or coverage disguises. He didn't just watch film, he dissected it. He would pause, rewind, analyze safety depth, corner leverage, linebacker tendencies. He memorized body language. "I can tell when a corner's gonna bite just by how his knees bend pre-snap," he once said in an interview. By the time he hit Colorado, he was already running his own version of an NFL-style offense in his head. He had studied Tom Brady, Joe Burrow, and Aaron Rodgers, picking apart their efficiency and timing. The difference? He wasn't just copying them. He was absorbing principles and applying them with his own flair. Burrow's pocket calm, Rodgers' arm angles, Brady's pre-snap control, and of course, his father's swagger. That's why when Cleveland scouts interviewed him, they were stunned. He wasn't giving generic answers about wanting to compete. He was diagramming plays on the whiteboard like a seasoned offensive coordinator. One Browns coach reportedly said after the meeting, "He's already thinking like a pro. He just needs an NFL uniform." The Coach Prime effect. There's no Shedeur story without Deion. The bond between father and son goes beyond football. Deion didn't raise Shedeur to be a clone. He raised him to be composed amid chaos. He knew the spotlight would always burn brighter for his children, so he taught them how to live in it, not run from it. Coach Prime made sure his son understood that confidence isn't arrogance. It's preparation meeting opportunity. When the world called Shedeur cocky, Deion corrected them. "No, son, that's composure." Every camera that followed them, every headline, every social media clip, was another training rep for Shedeur's mental toughness. By the time he arrived in the NFL, he wasn't overwhelmed by attention. He was built for it. He'd already done press conferences under fire. He'd already taken criticism after losses. He'd already carried a program on his back. That's what people don't understand about the Sanders name. It's not a brand. It's a blueprint. NFL scouts saw it early. When NFL scouts evaluated Shedeur before the 2025 draft, their reports told the same story. Pro-ready mechanics. Exceptional poise under pressure. Elite anticipation and processing. Many teams saw him as one of the most polished quarterbacks to come out of college in years. The biggest knock? Some doubted his athletic ceiling. Others said he benefited from his father's system. But the tape told the truth. Under duress, Shedeur didn't just survive, he thrived. He made anticipatory throws into tight windows, read disguised coverages with maturity, and demonstrated a veteran's patience. A former NFL executive said anonymously, if he played at Alabama or Ohio State, he'd be the consensus #1 pick. But because he played for his dad, people underestimated him. That underestimation became fuel. Shedeur didn't need the hype. He just needed the platform. And when the Browns finally gave him one, the NFL world saw exactly what he'd been building toward all along. The Browns chapter begins. When the Cleveland Browns selected Shedeur Sanders, they weren't just drafting a quarterback, they were inheriting a movement. Cleveland had seen instability at the quarterback position for decades. But when Shedeur arrived, he carried a calm that spread through the locker room. He wasn't starstruck. He wasn't trying to prove he belonged. He already knew he did. During his first training camp, veteran players noticed something different. While rookies typically struggle to process complex playbooks, Shedeur mastered his within weeks. He was leading walkthroughs, calling checks at the line, and even correcting protections for linemen twice his age. Defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz reportedly said, That kid processes the field faster than some veterans. He's NFL ready, mentally, emotionally, everything. Teammates respected it instantly, not because of who his father was, but because of how he carried himself. He didn't talk about being Coach Prime's son. He talked about execution, leadership, and responsibility. The Browns had drafted a quarterback. What they didn't realize was they'd also drafted a culture changer.